Okay.
Call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are we on? Are we on? All right. Roll call.
Commissioner Money,
Here.
Commissioner Weeding,
Here.
Commissioner Walsh,
Here.
Commissioner Wozak,
Here.
Mayor Hart.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, we'll now open the meeting up for public comment. Anybody who has a comment to make, please come to the center aisle, state your name and your address, and then proceed to tell us what you would like to tell us.
I'm Sylvia Lamping, 1160 West Main Street. The reason I'm here today is because I want the reason I'm here today is because I wanted to talk to you about what you have on your agenda for number 3, the request of the motion for the map amendment on Hickory Street. We went to the zoning board and we understood what the gentleman from Ultimate Rights wanted to do, and he was talking about his intent to put up a building and his trucks, but he was going to keep everything closer to creeks. And he said that he was going to keep the north side more green space. And we like that idea because that's the residential street, Main Street. It has the residential feel, and the residents would have been quite unhappy if that would have been turned to industrial on that side as well. What he is proposing sounds good to us. However, I'm concerned with what happens 5 years from now. So he says his intent now is to keep that portion green space. But if the property is amended to industrial, and then he has it as industrial, he can change his mind. So I'm wondering, is there a way that something can be, some language that can be written into the amendment to keep perhaps the north third of the property residential, looking at least keep that green space? I think that would be a good compromise.
Thank you for your comment. You can't respond to that. Thank you very much for your comment.
Okay. Oh, let me add to it then. I know you can't respond, but, and at the zoning board, everyone was saying, oh, he's an upstanding citizen and he will keep true to his word. I understand that as well, but what happens when he sells the property? Is whoever buys the property after him, are they going to keep true to it? So I just want something put in place so that it's ensured that it's kept the way that it's intended.
We appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
Good evening. Josh Wallow, 219 North Park Road, here on, first on behalf of the Braewood Lions Club, to say thank you to the city and all the employees for the assistance during our annual Summerfest this past weekend. Weather obviously was fantastic, so that made a huge difference for us. But all the support that we got from, between city crews, police department, police protection, Board County Auxiliaries for assistance as well, it's greatly appreciated. As everyone knows, our festival is our largest fundraiser of the year, and all proceeds that we get from the festival go back into the community in one way, shape, or form. We have no paid organizers or anything like that, so everything that we earn goes back into the community. Whether it be our beautification projects, from the flags on Main Street, to the Christmas decorations that get put up, to the different donations that we make to other organizations, or the different activities that we either provide or sponsor or provide sponsorship to throughout the year, that's all what it goes to. So we're looking at preliminarily right now being about an average year. You would think that with great weather it would have been fantastic, but things were down a little bit in all the different areas. So we're looking at probably anywhere between $12,000 to $14,000 roughly. We shoot for between 12 and 15, so it's going to be roughly about that. So still switching cats. So obviously with the storms that came through prior to the festival, we know that from an ESDA's perspective, that wreaked havoc on a lot of people. Luckily, we did not have any tornado touchdown or anything like that. However, straight line winds can cause just as much damage, as tornado force winds. That evening before the storms rolled in, we had full activation of our weather spotters out to keep an eye on things. We're in constant communication with Will County EMA, Grundy County EMA, listening to what was going on out to the west as it was coming in. So we kind of had an idea of what to expect when it got here. Obviously, when it got here, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face with the way the winds were causing the rain to go sideways and everything. But after things pushed through, we had a partial EOC activation, and we had brought in the representatives from different entities within the city. And the response, I can tell you from that aspect, was phenomenal. With the fire department, police department, public works crews, our EMA responses, the mutual aid agencies that came in to assist on the fire side, EMS side, trying to stay caught up with the wires down calls and everything like that. It truly was, it worked very well. One thing we did learn was a little bit of the issue on the communication aspect of it with the radio system and stuff like that. Unfortunately, with it covering such a large area like a Duratio normally does, the Starcom radio system was just overwhelmed. It was overwhelmed. So we had to get off of that very quickly, which we did, got onto a different platform, which allowed us to communicate amongst all of ourselves within the city, to be able to get all those calls and issues and trees down and everything, the main thoroughfares cleared and opened up. And then, of course, begin damage assessment the next day. So compared to some of the other towns in the area, we fared pretty well, as far as the destruction goes. And then we had a couple homes that did have large trees go right into their roofs, probably the worst ones, in the town that we've seen. So hopefully they'll be able to get those, taken care of with their insurance companies and stuff like that. So we have been keeping track of the expenses. So if there's overtime expenses and stuff like that, for whether it be public works, a lot of police officers were called in extra. I already spoke to Tony about it, to please make sure you keep track of those, funnel those over to me so I can forward those on up to Will County EMA, who forwards them to IEMA, to basically see if that meets that threshold for disaster relief funding, that kind of thing, so we can maybe recoup some of those funds. But we won't know that until all that's compiled and they get that total. Hopefully, if we do meet it, we'll be able to put in for hopefully some reimbursements. But if the county itself as a whole doesn't meet it, it has to be that county threshold. It can't just be city by city kind of thing. So hopefully without the municipalities reporting, we might be able to get something back out of it. So, but I just want to say thank you again to those department heads, to Tony, Chief Jude, Chief Goodwin, all the officers that came in, firefighters that came in, all the public works. Everybody was right there, right on top of stuff. So thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other people come forward for public comment, I will close it now. All right, we've got the minutes from the last meeting. I hope you have a chance to look at it. I need a motion to approve those minutes. Or are there any corrections before we do that? Or is there any corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 9th, 2024 regular meeting.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart,
Abstain.
motion carries.
Okay. I guess I'm up next. I do have a couple things. One, and I don't know whether it's appropriate or not, but I felt it was, so you're gonna hear it. I received this letter on the 8th of July, and I'm just gonna read you the whole letter. Dear Mayor Hart, we live in a world that is quick to share complaints and slow to share applause. Since this regards a couple of your citizens, I want to share it with you. I foolishly left my wallet on the top of my car this past Saturday while filling up at your local Circle K. I drove home to Aurora after picking up 7 pounds of local blueberries and then realized my great error. My husband and I returned Sunday morning, walking and driving slowly, carefully checking my original route on Route 113. To my dismay, we were unable to locate it. Early Sunday afternoon, I received a Facebook messenger from a young man named Geraldo Ferrero, who lives on Black Hawk Drive, on behalf of his father. He sent me a photo of my found wallet and options of how to return it to me. I was thrilled. My husband and I drove back to collect it. While my money, except for $1 and lots of change, and the credit card was missing, I got my license and local coffee house punch cards back. Geraldo, I guess his name is Tito, and his father refused any reward for their kindness. It is so refreshing to meet 2 people who look to help someone else, a stranger, and desire nothing in return. Any acknowledgement that you can provide these 2 men might inspire others to do the same. And it's signed Sherry Zarnick, and she lives in Aurora, Illinois, and since she asked if there was any way we could acknowledge him, this is my way of acknowledging him. So I just thought that's kind of nice to come across your desk instead of some of the other stuff that comes across your desk. Okay, the other thing, it's with mixed emotions that I announced that our Commissioner of Finance will be resigning his position as of July 31st. He is will be accepting a new position. Since this is the last council meeting we have before July 31st, I wanted to announce it. I thank him so much. He's been on the council when my husband was on the council.
5 years.
Yeah, and he has been a friend, and I will miss him. I will miss him. So. Okay. Mr. Altieri.
A few things, Mayor. Just between working with the developers and making sure they're ready to go here tonight. Will County's gonna be doing what they call a dial-a ride, which is basically like the Pace Bus. We were supposed to have a meeting this last week, and of course, the weather kind of screwed that up. Hopefully in the next week or 2, we'll be meeting with them to do a kickoff on that. So once that happens, we'll be sharing the City Hall here for people who want to sign up for doctor's appointments or any of that to get signed up front. We'll be able to do that, but we'll have all the further information in a couple weeks. And if you look around town, you'll see Cyber Broadcasting's got signs that they're gonna be starting construction. There'll be underground boring for fiber. So we have another option besides Xfinity and AT&T for your internet. And that and cleaning up trees and stuff this weekend, and the city guys did a great job. We should have just about finished it today, and if not, there might be 1 or 2 stragglers tomorrow, and we'll be back up to normal. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. City Clerk, Sarah, do you have anything?
Nothing to report tonight, thank you.
Thank you. We have an engineer here with us.
Surprise, sorry about the change. Just a couple things to report. We're gonna be working with Tony and Commissioner Walsh to pick some streets before we get the road program going. We're gonna see if we can identify something yet before the end of the season. We're gonna tie that into the street survey, just kind of a pavement survey to match things up, make sure that we are targeting the right streets. We also have another project that's getting ready to go out to bid. The school district, Reed Custer School District, the elementary school, reached out to the city and asked the city to basically design relocation of a water main. There's a water main that runs right now that loops between School Street and Walker Street. It's a 10-inch water main. It's actually gonna be in the footprint where they're gonna expand the building. So we've completed that design. We're getting ready to go out to bid on that one. Probably looking to construct that next month, wrapping up hopefully September, but realistic probably early August, or probably early October. And that's something that's the school district is going to be reimbursing the city for, but they want the city to handle them. So that's just a couple of things that are going on at this point in time, and that's all I've got there.
Sounds good. Thank you. City Attorney, Brian, do you have anything for us?
Nothing to report, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Accounts and finances.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve payment of the bills in the amount of $105,819.55.
I'll second.
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart,
Yes.
motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to approve payroll in the amount of $90,098.27.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart,
Yes.
motion carries.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Streets and public improvements.
Yes, Mayor, I just wanted to reiterate what Mr. Altieri said. I believe there were over 150 loads of tree branches and arcs of trees that were removed in the past week. So I just want to thank the Public Works guys. They did a great job along with Mr. Altieri.
I think we all deserve a good applause for them.
And that's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Public buildings and property.
Nothing to report tonight either. For change.
All right, public health and safety.
Well, of course, I always have a few things. All right, so, my comments, first of all, on several things. I hope everyone is okay after the severe storm. We have passed out related weather warnings a number of times in the past, and we're lucky enough to not encounter anything too bad until this last one on the 15th. So there was a lot of tree damage, as we all know, and we all know that the crews have done a great job in repairing and fixing up what they could and getting things cleaned up. Sorry for all the people that have damaged or lost power, and I hope everybody is in good shape now. We aren't alone in having gone through this. The metropolitan Chicago area had, I think it's 27, but had a record number of tornado touchdowns that they recorded, and the most in a 2-day period in their history of recording. So we were lucky that we didn't get hit by a big tornado ripping off all the homes and all the stuff like other cities have had in the past, and like Houston did not too long ago. So I hope everybody's back to normal, and we'd like to thank everybody that contributed in any way in helping us go through this and get cleaned up. Thank you for the emergency services group. Josh, as Josh mentioned, they did a fantastic amount of effort to help us through this. So I really appreciate all the effort by the police department, the emergency services, and all the city workers. Thank you very much. Okay, next I would like to say I hope everybody had a good time at the Lions Club Festival, as Josh had mentioned. It was good weather. I know my 6 grandchildren had a good time. I think they put on a great event, and I really thank you for all your efforts again in the Lions Club to provide this for the city. Thank you. All right. Next, I would like to mention that the Braidwood Police Department has an open position for a city or a administrative position. The duties of this position include, but are not limited to, being responsible for overseeing of the daily operations of the Records Division, ensuring compliance with police, state, and federal laws, and maintaining accurate and up-to-date records. The duties of this position include administrative functions, supervisory functions, and community relations functions. So if you know of anybody that is interested, or you're interested yourself, please inquire about this and pursue it. you can obtain an application from the Braidwood Police Department, or you can go to the Braidwood Police Facebook page. It has a lot of information on it there. That would be a good source. And if that doesn't work, you could, or you want to do another alternative, you can email to, and I'll list this out, but I know you probably won't remember it or whatever, so if you can, great, but if you can't, you can contact City Hall and ask them what the email is. It's blocascio@braidwood.us. Again, I'll repeat it, blocascio@braidwood.us. And please consider that, pass that along as information. Okay, now, I would like to bring to request approval of an ordinance authorizing the execution and approval of a memorandum of understanding between the City of Braidwood and the Metropolitan Alliance of Police to modify the existing collective bargaining agreement. This is ordinance number 24-30, and this agreement is something you have to go through with all union-oriented entities, and the city administrator and all of the people involved have been involved in working out this agreement, and therefore I'm going to make a motion to approve ordinance number 24-30. Ordinance authorizing the execution and approval of a memorandum of understanding between the City of Braidwood and the Metropolitan Alliance of Police to modify the existing collective bargaining agreement.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilczek,
Yes.
Mayor Hart,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, I'm gonna also make a motion soon here to make an ordinance, do an ordinance waiving the competitive bidding and approving the purchase of a 2023 Dodge Charger for use by the City of Braidwood Police Department. I'll have some explanation of that after I make the motion, and first to see if there's any questions from the council. So this is an ordinance waiving, ordinance number 24-33, which is waiving the competitive bidding and approving the purchase of a 2023 Dodge Charger for use by the City of Braidwood Police Department. I make that motion.
Commissioner Wilczek, we recently
I
waived.
think we need a second first and then discuss
Yeah.
it. Is there a second for this motion?
I'll second.
Okay, now you can go ahead.
We recently waived competitive bidding to get business to Arnie Bauer, who is moving in this. And I noticed this, we got this one from somewhere in Indiana. I was just wondering why we're waiving.
Very good question, and that's what I wanted to explain. First of all, this vehicle is being purchased to replace a 10-year-old vehicle that has over 100,000 miles on it, which now has mechanical problems and would require a significant amount to repair. So in discussions and research we thought it was much more appropriate to make a financial decision to buy a new one than to try to put money into an old one that needed so much repairs. This vehicle is a replacement of another Dodge Charger. And Dodge Chargers for police activities are hard to get. They're very hard to get. And so our department has put out feelers to different places that actually deal with these kinds of vehicles. And they were able to get notified that a number of these vehicles became available in this Indiana spot. And so we got our request in, and we were lucky to do so because within 30 days, the allotment that they had was all gone and no longer available. So we are getting a good deal for this, and it's good for the city from a financial and functioning standpoint because it replaces what we need to replace. It gives us something more, a newer asset to use throughout our life here in the city. And we were lucky to get it. And the good part is since our previous vehicle was a Dodge Charger, we're gonna save additional money for, moving the equipment that is needed for a police car from the previous Dodge Charger to the new Dodge Charger. So instead of ordering a new one with all the equipment, would have cost maybe twice as much, we were able to save a lot more by getting the same kind of vehicle and moving all the equipment. Are there any other questions?
I just wanted to add that they have stopped making the police version of the Dodge Charger.
They stopped?
The last one has already rolled off the assembly line,
Yeah.
so there is no more Dodge Charger police cars.
And that's probably why they're such limited capacity right now. We were lucky to get one.
And how does the city pay for this?
Very good point. I'm glad I meant to mention that. The city budget, well, this police car isn't coming out of the city budget. It is coming out of the discretionary funds from the police department. The funds that they get from when they are involved with cases that get solved, and then there's assets that are acquired because of the crimes that the people have committed. If our police department is involved with another police department that gets, people get convicted of a crime and there are assets that are turned over as a result of that, then they get a section, a partial of that. It's split among the police departments. So we have a fund from that, and that's what we're using to fund this police department. Is that correct, Tony?
Yes.
It's an asset forfeiture fund.
Yes, asset forfeiture.
Police department.
Any other questions? Okay.
You'll be saving about half the price. To get a new SUV and then have it loaded out would be about 70 to 80 grand. And to have this one and transferring over the newer equipment that we just put in the Charger into this one, it's only gonna be about 40.
So I
So
think
it's
this
a
is a
financially stable,
Yeah,
good
very,
idea.
very good financial transaction for the city.
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, I have one last item. Braidwood Police Department press release. This is for the period of July 8th through July 22nd. The total number of calls for service, this is only a 2-week period, was 283. The case reports were 10. Total subjects arrested, 4. Total arrest charges, 4. Total number of traffic stops, 50. Citations, 7. Written warnings, 24. Semi-truck violations, 3. And total number of P tickets, 2. That is all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Ralph. We come now to planning and zoning, and George Kozak is not here, so Tony's gonna be planning and zoning and explain what we have going there.
Which one are we gonna do first?
Right, there's a public hearing on the annexation and development agreement regarding Ridgeway Petroleum, Mastinon. Request a motion 2431 annexing a certain territory. Why don't you read
I
it?
believe we're gonna open a public hearing.
Yeah, I think that's when you
Motion.
open the public hearing first.
I need a motion.
You need a
Motion.
motion.
I'll make that motion to open the public hearing.
Second, sorry.
All right. Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh.
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart.
Yep.
Motion carries.
All right, George can't be here tonight, so he asked me if I'd step up, so I'll do the best I can, because I don't have any notes in front of me. I was at both zoning meetings and everything. The gas station with Mastodon, did all their postings, all their mailers to all the residents. We had the zoning board meeting, which we did have, one, resident come and speak about the area. And then it was voted on by the zoning board unanimously. So then they turned it over to you guys. A little help on
Is there any
Sure.
comment?
Sure. So, the public hearing tonight is specifically, regarding the annexation agreement. Statute requires that if there's an annexation agreement, that city council hold this public hearing before any final action is taken on it. The petitioner is here with his representatives. The way that I would suggest we handle it is let the petitioners provide a little insight about their project. City council will have an opportunity to ask any questions. Staff can provide input too. Once the council has finished their questions or comments, we can turn it over to the public to have their questions or comments. And of course, the petitioner will have an opportunity for rebuttal after any public comment. But that would essentially conclude the public hearing, and then you could have discussion before you vote.
All right, I'll turn it over to, ask Don.
Thank you, Mayor
You
Hart.
wanna give us your name?
I will, yes. My name is Vince Tessitore, and I'm from the law firm of Castle Law. It's a pleasure to be here before you guys tonight. I just wanted to introduce our team as well before I get into describing the project here. But with me from Ridgeway Petroleum Inc. is Dave Smith, who is the president of Ridgeway Petroleum, along with his son Cody, who is also with Ridgeway Petroleum. Also with me tonight is Chris Kalashevsky from WT Group. WT Group are the civil engineers who are working on the mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural components of the project. On the civil engineering side, we have Brian Hertz here over there helping me out with the slides. Brian is from M. Gingrich, Giroux & Associates. And we also have with us here tonight Brendan May, who is our traffic consultant from KLOA. So we're here to answer any questions or provide any feedback that you guys might need throughout this evening. But to just describe at the outset a little bit of the background of Ridgeway Petroleum, as you might notice from the front row here, Ridgeway is a family business. They were started in 1936. It all began in that year when William Van Rem Shorst started his home heating oil delivery business. They have a tradition of excellence which is focused on building lifelong relationships with their customers and being a responsible and conscientious neighbor in the communities they serve. Ridgeway's mission is to provide quality products customers can trust, employee-friendly people, and provide a safe, clean, and fully operational experience for both their employees and the customers. Ridgeway currently owns and operates 2 other locations in Will County. One of them is on 183rd Place in Orland Park, and the other is on Laraway Road in New Lenox. So they're no stranger to Will County, and they're happy to be coming into your community. To summarize our request, Ridgeway is here tonight having recently purchased the subject property. The subject property is approximately 28 acres. Approximately 5 of those acres are already within the corporate limits of Braidwood. You guys may know that, or public may know that, as well as the old restaurant building property. The 23 acres are contiguous to those 5 acres, and we're asking that those 23 acres be annexed to the city and at the same time simultaneously be rezoned to the B2 business district. The 5 acres that are currently within the city are currently zoned in the B2 business district. So zoning the entire site B2 would allow us to accomplish the project in moving forward. The proposed development consists of a gas station for automobiles with a car wash, convenience store, and a restaurant, as well as 3 diesel fuel lanes for trucks. We have depicted on the screen over here a site plan. One of the things I want to cover, if at least briefly, is the access points on the site plan. So the site is located just east of the I-55 exit ramp right there. So this is Coal City Road right here on the northern end of the site. I know we have it looking, it's on the right, but that's the northern end, just to confuse everyone. And then we have Division Street right here. So the main access, or the only access point from Coal City Road is right there. That is for automobiles only. And to access that point from I-55, we actually have a dedicated lane that will be constructed along this area going from I-55 to the site and actually goes all the way around the site and accesses the site off of the Division Street area too. So that lane will allow traffic coming from I-55 to not have to enter onto Coal City Road as they're going into the site. It also gives traffic, whether they're going to the site or not, an option of taking a different lane to Division Street down below on the site plan. So it's designed to access the site and also to be a through to Division Street so that traffic from I-55 won't have to access Coal City Road in order to get to Division. The three other access points are on Division Street. The one farthest north that I'm pointing out here is also only for automobile access. One of the nice features of the site that really makes it work well operationally is the separation between auto traffic and truck traffic and auto customers versus truck customers. Essentially the right half or the northern half of the site here serves the auto traffic, which is the convenience store, the car wash, and the gas station, of course. And then the left half of the site serves the truck traffic with the 3 diesel fuel lanes right there. So this northern access point off Division is, like I said, only for automobiles. This access point off of Division, the middle access point, is an exit for the trucks going through the site. And then this farthest south access point off of Division is for the trucks to enter into the site. And again, the trucks will primarily and very predominantly, according to our traffic analysis, be coming from I-55. So in order to access the site, they will not have to access Coal City Road or even Division Street because they're going on an access lane to be constructed into the site from I-55. With respect to Division Street, I'd also like to point out the improvements that we're making to Division Street as shown on the plan. It's a little bit ruffled at the bottom there, but Division Street is currently a two-way street. We are proposing on this plan to build, one off a little bit. Okay. We're proposing, as shown on the plan, a third lane so that there is a dedicated left-hand turn lane onto Coal City Road and also a dedicated right-hand turn lane onto Coal City Road. So any traffic coming northward down Division Street, if you're wanting to turn left onto Coal City Road, you're not having to wait for traffic turning right and vice versa to make traffic go more smoothly throughout that area there, and that was one of the things identified and recommended within our traffic study. I want to touch a little bit on the features of the site, especially with respect to the right half or the auto service areas. The car wash is shown towards the top of the site plan there. Ridgeway actually went above and beyond in terms of the normal due diligence for a site like this. They actually hired a group out of Texas, abbreviated as IMST, Innovative Marketing Strategies of Texas. And they did a study that showed certain things, such as with respect to the car wash, what the maximum stacking rate of the cars would be on a peak day. They determined that to be 7 stacked cars. As we show in our plan and a little bit later down, we have actually 21 car stacking spots there. So we have roughly exactly 3 times the maximum capacity there, which is of course more than enough. But that study really helped us understand, that stacking wouldn't be a problem. And then with respect to actually, I'd like to go to the elevations now, Brian, if you want to click on the elevation. So this is an elevation of the convenience store, and you can see that the site has a mastodon theme with the parking out in front of the convenience store. And Brian, if you could go down to the next slide. This is, and you can keep going, this is again the convenience store. When we get to, oh, here we go. So this is an elevation of the car wash. You can see on the side facing us, that's the car is on the right side going out of the car wash. The side facing us would be where those contraptions are there, which are actually vacuums. So yeah, so the vacuums will be in the parking to vacuum your car on the one side of the car wash there. Brian, you can go ahead. And these are some elevations of the inside of the convenience store. Again, they're selling what you would typically see at convenience stores that serve major fuel centers, packaged food and beverages. Brian, you can keep going to the next one. And there's an elevation of the kitchen. Now, the convenience store will have a restaurant portion in it, and this is depicting the restaurant portion, or at least where the food is served there in the restaurant portion. It's going to sell pizza, and the pizza is actually an original recipe of our client. I dare to say that it's a higher quality pizza, but at a more affordable price. They will also have a deli which serves sandwiches for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And Ridgeway has actually hired a food service director with years of experience in the food service industry to run this portion of the business. You want to go to the next slide, Brian? It's just another angle. There's the seating area for the restaurant. And just more shots of the inside of the convenience store. You can keep going, Brian. I'm going to get to the, I believe we have an elevation, if you keep going down, Brian, of one of the site features is also a dog park, and I wanted to show that to you as well. It's an outdoor feature. Maybe it's not in this one. It could be in our other tab. Okay, go, Brian, if you could click on the other tab and just scroll down. Keep going down, those are more elevations. There's an elevation of the signage. We are requesting 3 variances from your signage code. Your signage code doesn't contemplate high-rise signs, so 2 of the 3 variations we're requesting are actually with respect to the high-rise sign that's depicted there on the left side of the screen. The 2 variations concern exceeding the maximum height in your sign code and exceeding the maximum square footage for the sign. We also are seeking a variation, the 3rd one, to our pylon sign, which is at the main entrance to the site off of Coal City Road. Your code provides for a maximum height of 20 feet, and we're requesting a variation to make that 24 feet. But besides those 3 variations, we're compliant with your code requirements. If you can continue on there. One feature I think is neat is there will be a couple mastodon statues within the site, and there's a depiction there of a bull statue that, you know, is sort of representative of what those statues will be. But again, continuing in the mastodon theme, you'll see a couple of mastodon statues out there. And Brian, you can keep going. Keep going. Again, these are more elevations of the exterior. You see this? Oh, it's one up? Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see it one up. Hard to see, but I think oh, there it is, right there. Okay. Lower left. It's a little bit hard to see, but that's the dog park area. And it's surrounded by a decorative presumably aluminum black fence. So, a few notes about the project in summation. The construction workers will be union construction. The project budget is approximately $10 million. The site will generate approximately 30 full-time employees. And the site will generate, as you probably are well aware of, significant property taxes, sales taxes, cigarette taxes, motor fuel taxes. They're all resulting in significant, we feel, economic benefits for the community and hopefully for our client as well. So I just wanted to make a side note too. This came up at the Plan Commission. Our client is only building on the portion of the property they bought. They do have a desire to build phase 2 out as a hotel in the future. That will be dependent obviously on market factors that aren't there yet, but we're obviously not here for approval of a hotel, but I did want to mention that as well. And with that, we're here to answer any questions that any of you may have, and we really appreciate your time.
Anybody on council wanna ask?
I have a couple questions. Can you go back to the very first drawing?
Sure.
Okay. In reference to these entrances, you're adding a third lane here. Are these right in and right out, or is there left turn available from these?
No, those are full accesses, right?
Full access.
Yeah, those are full access. So
They are full,
yeah.
left turn also? Okay.
Left turn also. It should be, I don't know if I noted this or not, there's actually 2 full access entrance points off of Coal City Road right now. to
So
the side.
they're able to turn left?
Right.
Will there be traffic control here?
Yeah, you know, that's
What's that?
just a stop sign in terms of traffic control.
Okay.
And I should mention too, that Coal City Road and Division Street are both IDOT controlled roads.
Right.
So we do still need to go through the permitting process with IDOT, so it's all subject to what they.
And then
what they're
also
doing.
down here, you mentioned there'll be 3 lanes, a left turn lane, a right turn lane. I assume the middle lane can turn both directions.
My understanding is that road
Yeah.
ends there, right?
So you'll maintain the one southbound through lane, and then going northbound at Pole City, we recommended that it be widened to provide a left turn lane and a right turn lane.
So there'll only be 2 lanes?
2
to
north
turn?
lanes, yeah.
Okay, okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the third lane would be your access for your vehicles?
Well, right now, there's 2 lanes, and that would be expanded to 3. If you're considering our access lane from I-55, that would actually be a 4th lane.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, right.
I have a question. What kind of signage will be there to instruct cars only into the car entry versus trucks being only directed to them?
You know, that's something that the village will dictate to us, or the city will dictate to us during the permitting process, but we're open to whatever the city's recommendations are on that front.
Back to the intersection there, Whole City Road Division. So to go straight, you have to be in the left lane. You turn left or go straight, because there's a little jog in the road where people go on the frontage road and they head north. There's the right lane for right turn only. Right turn only.
Correct.
So to go straight, you have to be in that left lane. Okay.
Yeah, and
Oh,
we
the
do
2 going
recognize.
north. On 2 lanes going north, you'd have to be in the left lane to go straight.
Yeah, and we recognize that the intersection, with the offset and everything is a bit confusing. So that striping could be modified to be left through, recognizing the drive. So the striping, again, will be worked out with IDOT, and they'll recommend what is the best for that roadway.
Will there be semi-truck overnight parking there, you know?
I believe, yes.
20 spaces.
20 spaces? Okay. And I did have one more. The exit that IDOT is putting in the lane, we kind of call that the or I call it the Braidwood Forest there, because there's so much brush there. Will all that be cleared out, you know, or? There's a lot of foliage there.
Another question would be.
Right where that exit point is?
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
the footprint where the station and this development is gonna be? How many acres of that property does that development consume?
This development is approximately
Okay.
just over 5 acres,
Gotcha.
as we see here.
Right, okay.
And the other 22 is on the other side.
That's the old pasture and
Yes.
that open field.
Right.
Okay.
So do you
I'm
know,
sorry,
did IDOT, do you work with IDOT for that? Because we've been trying to work with them to clear that whole intersection for years.
Our plans are, I talked to the contractor, is to clear out all of the trees.
Along your property line?
Correct, yes, sir. Because the question came up, because somebody in the neighborhood wanted to take the trees and use them for his own benefit, but I just, before I let him do anything, I just wanted to make sure it was okay, but the intention is to clear out the trees.
Thank you.
Just a comment, I like the idea that you have a little restaurant there. I know a lot of people, when they come and visit this area, they like that restaurant that was there. Just a nice little place to eat is very good, thank you.
Can we close it from the council and open up, or just go ahead and open up?
We'll need to open it up for public comment or question.
Okay. I am gonna open it, if there's no other questions from the council, I will open it up for public comment now from, anybody who would like to ask any questions of, the people that are here.
And if there is none, then we could entertain
one more question.
a motion, of course.
Maybe it's a typo on here. You have 2 arrows out. Is that only an out with this one? Trucks come in here,
Yes, sir.
come through fuel.
Yes, that's correct, that's only an exit right there.
Okay.
The basis for that is we don't wanna have trucks queuing on Division Street, so that they can come in on the southernmost point, right, access correct right there. And then there's also queuing, that whole area is potential queuing space for trucks.
Oh, so they didn't come in, they'd have all this here to be able to queue before they make the turn.
Yes.
Okay.
Fuel and facing east.
That's all I have.
All right, hearing no other questions, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close.
Second?
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart,
Yes,
motion carries.
now I think we have to request a motion,
We do,
huh?
we do. Do you want me to read it?
I'd like to make a motion to open up the public side of this.
Oh, no, we.
We already did that,
You did it.
yeah, okay,
Second.
yeah. Ryan, if you would like to read the ordinance, we are requesting a motion for this ordinance, and Ryan is going to read it, so if you will do that.
Sure, it's an ordinance annexing certain property to the corporate limits of the city of Braidwood, approving an annexation and development agreement between the city of Braidwood and Ridgewood Petroleum, doing business as Mastodon Mart, approving a map amendment to the annexing property to be zoned as B2 outlying business district, and approving variances for the entire subject property, just 27.96 acres. We need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve 24-31 ordinance.
I'll second it, sir.
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, we also, need a motion, for ordinance 2432, granting a map amendment to vacant property east of North Hickory Street and south of West Main Street in Braidwood, Illinois, for an I-1 industrial district. You wanna go ahead and explain that, Tony?
Yes, again, this is property directly east of Ultimate Rides. Same owners looking to purchase it, put a building up and some more parking. Again, he did all his postings, he did all his letters mailed, he came to the, zoning meeting, and there was a couple people had questions about it, and then after we were done, one of them thought it was different property, so he didn't have it. Then the Lampies were here to, voice their opinion on it, and then it was voted to pass it. And we do have Mr. Olanda here, in case anybody has questions, he can, step up the mic and get your vein.
I don't know if you were here when the lady expressed her concerns, perhaps you can address that with her.
Yes, so, obviously you guys know we just built across the street. When I noticed that the land went up directly across from us, I was, just a little bit worried that I would get some neighbors that would have a negative impact on my business or the community. So I'd like to, purchase it for a future expansion of our business. As far as the green space, we do plan to keep, when we do develop in the future, our, development on the south end of the property, to keep that side by the homes green space. And that's really it. I just was afraid of having anybody that would be a neighbor, like the trucking, parking across the street, or something that would kind of have an impact on our stuff that we got going.
So the whole property has the same zoning, correct?
Yes.
So
Well, that's what we're hoping for, yes.
in the future, is it possible that you,
Well, I was thinking it could be conditional to me, maybe,
Mhm.
to ease their mind. Like this use can be conditional to me, since I am across the street, and my plans for the space is to keep just that south end. You know, as you see, we already are starting to fill that lot out, and we're not even halfway to how many vehicles we'd like to have.
Mhm.
So we will need this parking, and, you know, I figured, it would just be easier to be right there.
Tony and Brian, is there something we should consider with a condition for this, or?
I believe that would be up to you guys, but it was passed in the zoning with it as a complete rezoning of the whole property.
So your idea would be to make that more parking available for your current location?
Yes, so it'd just be more of our inventory on display for
Would-
sale.
Would it be a similar build, would you?
Yeah,
do next?
exactly the same,
Okay.
yes. Now's not exactly the time, we're not ready
Right.
for it, we're just trying to get on our feet over there with what we
Sure.
currently have.
Understood.
I just, you know, like I said, one day I came into work, I noticed it was up for sale in the middle of June, and I was just afraid that I would get a neighbor like across the highway there, you know,
Okay.
where there's a lot of riffraff, and something that would just, like I said, negatively impact our business.
You've done a great job on what you did.
Thank you.
It's a good job.
Couple years of my life taken away, but.
I understand.
I think it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If this was to change hands in the future, would we be able to approve or disapprove what we would want to allow?
If you rezone it as industrial, it'll be industrial. I don't know, you could check with Brian on this if he wanted, if Nick was okay with it, maybe you could say from Main Street south 150 feet, stay R1, and then everything from there. I don't know if we could do that.
I was hoping to keep it the same zoning, just
No, that's
promise
it,
to
it's-
keep green space,
Yeah.
like, you know, cause I think that would get confusing later.
Because
so-
as it went through the zoning board, it was passed as
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Like
one
business.
too, if it's kept that way, though, if it gets a new person to purchase it and it already has that zoning, do they still need to get approval through the council in order to?
It would depend what they wanna do.
Yes,
So,
okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So the reason that I thought of this idea was because at the last meeting, the property on North Hickory Street, I don't know the whole situation behind that, but it was some kind of truck stop or truck repair or something. And Doug had asked if this was going to remain that way for the future. And the answer was yes. So I was like, okay, well, this would be a perfect compromise. So I understand that if it's all transferred to industrial, but if we could have a portion of it, well, yeah, last time at the zoning meeting, he was, I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Nick, it's okay.
Yeah, so Nick was saying that he was intending on keeping the north side of it green space. And that would work. I mean, I don't think that we are insisting that it like stay residential or anything, but if we could have some language in it that says that that portion of it will remain green space, so that if it is sold in the future, that would still remain green space.
Well,
What she's referring to in a previous development, if I'm not mistaken, is we granted a map amendment and restricted it it to a specific use. So whatever, I think that's what we did, and I'm mixing up some of my towns that I represent, but I think that's what we did. And we can restrict to certain uses, but we wouldn't be able to have like a reverter clause in there that we grant an I-1 to whoever.
Me with X
is-
amount of green space, you can't, that's not like something that can happen.
That we could potentially do if you agreed, you know, to something like that in, you know, it would essentially be like a mini development agreement or something
Yeah.
like that. But you wouldn't be able to rezone it today I-1, and if he sells, it would revert back to whatever it is, you could not do that.
But
That's
even
what
if
I'm-
it's rezoned, and if it gets a new, occupant, wouldn't they have to get approval, for what they wanna do with it?
No, as long as it's a permitted use under I-1, they would be able to develop.
Okay. So,
Well, and as Nick, he's concerned with what is going to be across the street from his business, we're also concerned with what's going to
Yeah.
be across the street from our home.
We
So-
heard your concerns.
Okay.
Yeah, and I understand that, and that was my concern, that's the whole reason why I would like to purchase it, is any type of, you know, apartment building, something that, like, I just wouldn't be beneficial for us. I just wanna protect our future, because we wanna stay here, you know,
we like your facility.
thank you.
I think right now we have, a motion before us to, pass this ordinance.
So can we, I'm sorry, can we pass this ordinance and then in the future, if we wanted to put a condition thing, type thing on it, pass another one to do that?
You can impose conditions on a map amendment, very limited types of conditions, like you could not condition it upon this specific owner. If you wanted to impose some kind of like land use agreement, it would sort of be separate, like a development agreement, like we're doing with Mastodon. We have an agreement where they've agreed that they're gonna do certain things on their property, they're restricted to certain uses, they're gonna do certain things. That would have to be a separate document, it'd be a very small document, and it would be up to a mutual agreement. I don't believe that city council would be able to impose that upon the owner before you with a map amendment.
Do you have any recommendation?
Recommendation would be to work with the current owner, to come to some kind of agreement. It sounds like his intention is to develop it. If he intends to sell it and use, you know, for some other development, he could very well come to city council and say, hey, I wanna enter into an agreement to preserve this green space. Bind the property to that, it would run with the land, and then he would sell it to a future developer with that restriction in it.
I'd like to say one thing though, before we get too many restrictions on anything, he still has a potential of putting more houses there. So if you restrict it to green space, we're cutting out any possibility of future homes or any of that could go there. So someone could walk in and say, well, across from their land, we're gonna buy a strip off them so deep and we wanna build houses across there. If you restrict things on there, then that's out of the question. You just gave up 6 or 8, or I don't know how many lots could be there of home development, which is tax dollars. So as only my opinion is that it would rezone it the way it is. I've known Mr. Blonda for years and years and years and never had an issue with him going back on his word ever, so.
And I will say that when development comes in, say they don't have to come before city council for an approval, they still have to go before staff for like, you know, site plan review and building permits and so on. And the city can absolutely say, you know, even if they don't have, you know, we'll say something that they can, a chip that they can hold, they can still say to the developer, hey, we really wanna preserve these trees.
Because they still have to come before you guys for a development like this.
Right.
Whether I go to develop this land or anyone else does.
Administrative.
Okay.
And the city, they make these asks all the time, it's routine.
All right, we do have, thanks, Nick.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
So we need a motion, right?
Yeah, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 24-32. An ordinance granting a map amendment to the vacant property east of North Hickory Street and south of West Main Street, Braidwood, Illinois, for industrial 1 district.
I'll second.
Commissioner Money?
I have a question first.
All right.
Can you just clarify this for me again, Brian? exactly where are we at with this? We're only changing it to I-1, but there is no special use. He still has to come before the board for development.
So the motion before you would be changing it from its current zoning designation to I-1. That would permit him to construct, without coming before city council, any permitted use in I-1. If he's gonna put up a big sign like Massillon needs a variance, he would need to come before you and ask for an approval. But if it's fully compliant with code, a permitted use already in the ordinance, he would not need to come before city council and ask for anything. Now, if he is going to construct even a shed, he has to come before the city for a building permit, and there's a permit review. And with any complex project, bigger than a shed, there's a conversation between, the administrative staff personnel and the builder. There would still be a conversation that can be had. It
So
would
we're
not
still
come before you.
protected.
It would not come before you, but you rely on the city staff on a day-to-day basis to still try to impose, the wants and needs of the city.
But we're still protected if we vote to go I-1 tonight, that this can't turn into a mess later on.
He would still
It
have.
could absolutely turn into any permitted use in I-1, and if you believe that permitted use is a mess, then yeah, it could. I mean, I don't know by memory what uses are permitted in I-1, but it could be a multitude of things, and I'm assuming neighbors wouldn't like some of those. Just like in a commercial district, there are some uses that people won't like that, develop anywhere in a commercial district. People can complain about anything.
But when they do a development, they still have to go through, if they're gonna need a detention pond, elevations, through all the engineers, meet
Still-
all our building codes.
Still need to comply with landscaping requirements, all sorts of stuff.
Okay, I know this is redundant, but what was brought up here, I trust him. He's gonna buy it, he's gonna do what he said he's gonna do. But he makes $1 gazillion, he decides to retire and move to Tahiti. Somebody else buys it.
I don't know about that.
Somebody else buys it. That entire piece of property now can be turned into whatever they want that falls under the I-1 zoning.
As long as it complies with code, absolutely.
And the reason for the I-1 is that's what I feel my business falls under, for my zoning to do exactly what we're doing.
Because you're working on vehicles, correct?
Correct, exactly.
Okay. I'm good.
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart.
Yes,
Motion carries.
okay. Do we have any old business?
I would like to take a minute to thank
Yes.
Doug and these all these gentlemen for the show. Very nice to see everything that's going to be developed.
Thank you for fixing our corner.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Mr. Smith,
I'd like to take a minute to thank Doug Money for all his years of
Before you take
commitment with the city. We all know that when he came on board to this administration, there was a very severe deficit. He played a major role in helping get the city turned around. Wanted to say thank you, Doug.
There was one piece of new business that I'd really like to get in. I know it's a long meeting. We had, some years ago, a committee to beautify Braidwood. It has since fallen by the wayside. Well, I want to resurrect it and make Braidwood beautiful. We're gonna start with the Main Street. We're gonna get some planters. City will pay for the planters. We'll put plants in them. And they will be placed at spots where they'll look good. I'm gonna send letters out to the owners of the businesses on Main Street so that they will know. We need to develop a committee that will be responsible for taking care of those planters, making sure they're watered, making sure the plants get changed. I'd like to see us have something in the planters for each season, in the summer and in the fall and in winter. So I wanted to put that out so everybody would know we are going to be doing that, and there will be information coming out. So if you're interested in being on that committee, if you've got a green thumb, we would love to have you. Okay, now I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Wait, Mayor, I have.
What, you have something?
You've been told.
Why did I not come?
The next town hall meeting will be August 13th at 6 o'clock before our city council meeting. And we may have someone from Will County government here. I'm working on that, so you can ask questions along with city council, city administrator. Of course, Mr. Money will not be here, but
In spirit.
in spirit.
He may be out there.
Yeah.
I have one more thing to add, if I may.
Sure.
In reference to his position for the police department, on the city website, under public notices, it's at the top. So the description is there and the application is there for both.
Thank you very much. And so you can go to the city website or the Facebook page.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, who took first?
He's first and he's second.
Commissioner Money,
Yes.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.
Commissioner Wozak,
Yes.
Mayor Hart.
Yes.
We have adjourned.
Thank you.